Welcome to the live stream here tonight. Sorry, we're a few minutes late. We had a little bit of technical issues. Internet wouldn't allow me to go live. One of those things. But I wanted to warm welcome to all the AE Excellence Hub members. This is your chance for me to answer your questions directly. Plus, if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to the channel. This is our Sunday night live chats. And you know what? I was thinking about this today. It takes me back to about 3 or 4 years ago where we really started to go live a lot. We went 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times a week answering your questions. So if you're in the chat box here on the right hand side of the screen, comment, let me know where you're listening in from. Do like this video. And also, if you've not already, please do hit that subscribe button because it means the world to me. The more people we can help in this game of golf, the better. And my overall mission for us right here is to get as many of you, you know what, not even lowering your scores, just genuinely enjoying your golf more. Now, what's a day of golf? I don't know if anybody watched this, but I was well and truly captivated by the golf. And what I mean by that is in India. Tommy Fleetwood shot a 7 under 65 in his final round to win the inaugural event in India by 2 strokes. Now, I don't know if anybody saw this, and let me know if you did watch this. Richard Stoney turning in from Cardiff, one of the AE Excellence Sons members. Richard, welcome to the live stream. I'm thoroughly enjoying how many of you are going to be listening in. And if you are listening back to this, don't worry, still pop your questions in the comments. I will go back to them personally. Now, just going on to this point of the golf in India, I watched an interview with Tommy Fleetwood, and he was talking about how his son said this to him, they were hitting some balls in the range a week before, and they were talking. His son was like, "Dad, I've never actually been there when you've won." And I thought that was quite an interesting point because Tommy Fleetwood's, I was thinking, surely he's won a lot. He's not actually won as much as I thought he'd won. Then I did a little bit more digging, and it turns out his son had this conversation, and that was his pure motivation for going in this week of going, you know what, my son is actually here. He's going to watch me. If I win this, he will be here. Anyway, Tommy Fleetwood got the W. He won, and his son ran onto the green. It was the best thing ever. So other notable performances, Shane Lowry finished tied third on minus 18, and that picked him up 216,000 euros. And Fleetwood's win was 583,000 euros. And what an event. Cracking one to watch. And do you know what? It really got me thinking. Having the likes of Rory, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry at these events definitely gets more people tuned in. Like, let me know what you think on this. If you agree, if you disagree. For me, I was actually really interested with what was going on in the golf. Fully interested. Okay, so as we're all joining, I appreciate it's 8 p.m. on a Sunday. People are getting ready for whatever they're doing. But if you are tuning in, get your cup of tea. Also, get in the comments and let me know if you got any questions. We are answering, first and foremost, the AE Excellence Hub members. And I've got loads of questions to go through here. So I'm going to start with one from Peter Gabshak. Now, he said, thanks to the drills to help get more hip turn, and the one where the rod in the hands work on getting the hands more forward impact. The question is I have, how do I mentally prepare for when I'm hitting to not fall back into old habits when I'm trying to hit it too hard? I fall back and overuse the right arm, and a big part of golf is mental. I'm also superstitious. Do you know what? I am also very superstitious. I think it's like a thing where golfers always have. We have this sort of innate ability to be like, if I do the same things again as I did last time, maybe it's just sports people in general. Maybe that is what it is. But I feel like we have this like uncanny ability to just be a little bit superstitious. But the overall question of what was being asked there by Peter was, is there a way, and I'm going to read between the lines here, of transferring our skills we have in practice, or into our ability to perform on the golf course. And I think that's a really interesting comment because I think that doesn't apply just to irons. I think that applies to every single drill we're trying to implement in our golf swing, period. I think that's it. So, what I would say to you is, and to anybody watching right now, that I would have it this way. And the analogy that I use is if you're trying to put on muscle mass in the gym or you're trying to lose weight in the gym, it doesn't just happen overnight, does it? It takes time. It takes a heck of a lot of time. And what you would see is over a period of time, you wouldn't see any change to start with, even though you would probably feel it. And then suddenly, boom, you look totally different. Somebody points it out. So, my point to you here is if you're using a drill, I think you've got to have 2 or 3 different drills you've got to rotate, which all have the same outcome focus. Now, with that, okay, I would then have a rotation of them. Because what you tend to find is if you use the same drill, you come a bit numb to it. And before you know it, you don't really know what that drill's for. And you don't really know what you're looking to do with that drill. It just becomes like a weird thing of, oh, it's not working as it was. It's because you come numb to it. So if you're using a bit of a cycle, 3 drills, which have the same outcome focus, this for me is the way in which you build up skills. So going back to my analogy, over a period of time, you then see a huge difference. Let's now sort of transfer that to the golf course because you can't use that drill on the golf course. But what you can do is this, and this is awesome. You can have a better pre-shot routine that you can build from the feelings you get from the drill. So let's use what Peter was saying about, you've probably all seen that drill of where you have the alignment stick in the golf club. And the idea is you swing through and you don't want the alignment stick to hit you on the side. It's really simple. It's brilliant, by the way. It works for pitching, chipping, iron play. And from there, you would then go, okay, well, what feelings am I getting? How can I recreate this as part of my pre-shot routine to re-jog my memory and then go, you know what? That's what I had on the range. That's what I had when I was ripping it. Because I think, and then let's go back to Tommy Fleetwood, right? We all have this illusion that the best players in the world have their A game every single week. They don't. They might have their A game. It's going to sound ridiculous what I'm about to say here. 3 times a year. 3 times a year. The rest of that time, they are grinding away. They are finding something. They're trying to get their game in the right place. That is what they're trying to do. And that is how I would, from my knowledge of when I carried on the DP World Tour, from spending my time with real golfers just like you, but also the top elite golfer, how they work and what skills they have and what skills you have and how you apply it too. That is how we build it into a system which you can apply to your game. So going back to your question, Peter, I think that's a brilliant way in which you can apply that to your game. So let's jump into another question. And just to say, Michael's just joined. And if you are joining and you are watching live right now, let us know in the comments that you are watching. Just say hi. It's great. I want to hear as many of you as possible. I really do appreciate it. You joining in on this Sunday night. It's brilliant to have so many of you on. And it is one of the best things. I love this bit. This is talking to so many of you and learning what you need help with. You also direct not only the content we have on the AE Excellence Hub, but also the content that we're putting out here on YouTube. So let me know what you need help with, and we'll for sure, as long as you're a subscriber, we'll start to use that in our content going forwards. So another question that we've got here, and this is a brilliant one. Why do my shots go everywhere except where I'm aiming? Now, this is an interesting comment, right? Because I honestly think it's almost sometimes the other way around. Our brain has a magnificent intuition of knowing what our intended target is. But also on the flip side of that, we then don't sometimes have a full understanding of where we're actually aiming, right? And that becomes then very, very hard to go, okay, am I aiming in the right place? And sometimes I've done this test with so many of my students. And a lot of them go, I think I'm aiming correct. And I go, you know what? You're not. You're not aiming anywhere near where we need to aim. And I think it's really interesting that so many of us have an idea of where we're trying to aim, but it doesn't match up. So my advice to you is, before you go down the rabbit hole of trying to look at your swing and the very minute fine details, let's go down that first part on that elimination of, am I aiming correctly? And it's super simple. Follow this process. On the driving range, I want you to aim off square to your mat. I want you to pick 5 targets. I want you to aim yourself, then grab your golf club, pop it down, okay, on your feet line, grab another golf club and place that parallel of where your ball is. What you're looking for is this: the ball line, so the second line you place down, not the one on your feet. You're looking to have that pointing, boom, straight down towards target. You should then see that your feet line is aiming parallel left to this. Now, what so many golfers have is their body aiming at target and their feet line way right, and their body and their target line of their ball way right. It's not about where your body's aiming, it's about your ball to target line, and your body line should be parallel left. So I always go to people and they go, I'm hitting it everywhere, left and right. The first thing I check when they come to a lesson with me is, what's your ability to aim? Because you could have the best golf swing in the world, but if your ability to aim is totally wrong, and therefore you don't have the actual chance of executing a task. And I think this really is the best way in which we have an ability to move your swing forward. So first things first, let's check your aim. So another question here from Chris Whitebread. He said, "Hi, I use a high handicap golf irons. I notice when the ball lands on the green, it tends to run through with no backspin. Would using mid handicap irons get more spin, or should I work on my technique?" I think this is a really important question. So in the comments right here on YouTube, on the live, and when from the hub guys are watching back, you can see what people are using. Let's put what irons we're using right now. So what Chris is going at here is, you have what we call like a game improvement irons. They tend to be a little bit thicker, a little bit more high launching, and they tend to pound this golf ball off with a little bit less spin. And sometimes I would say actually they actually generate more spin. What I would say to you, Chris, is let's have a look a little bit more at what golf ball you're using and technique. Like I would say this, right? You're not going to spin it with game improvement irons like you would lower handicap irons, period. But I still would believe you could get the ball stopping quicker. Okay. That is what I would say. So my advice to you is, let's firstly explore the idea of a slightly different golf ball. Then let's have a look at technique. Then let's make the different purchase of getting fitted for some irons. And what you got to look at here is the ideal scenario is, with, let's say with a 7-iron, we have slightly low launch with high spin. So the ball starts low, ends up high, and drops down with quite a vertical angle of descent. That would give us more stopping power. Now, what we tend to see with those game improvement irons is they tend to launch high with a little bit lower spin relative, and then we get that bounce factor. Sometimes also, if our strike is a little bit on the thin side, Chris, it might launch a little low, not get very high, and launch low with low spin. Now, if you launch it low with low spin, think of it this way. It goes like this, doing, 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 this way. Whereas that 7-iron that we're trying to launch low with high spin and end up peaking high goes, that's what we're looking for. And I think it's a really important way to think about this. It is down to technique. Ball has a huge impact, but also clubs do. So I like to go down the process of elimination, and let's go with, have a look at golf ball, have a look at technique, and then go down the route of, is it more on the fact that I should have different irons? So Chris actually asked another question here, which follows on, which I'm going to answer now. He put, sorry to ask another question. At the range, am I punching the irons like you showed in the iron blueprint? The problem is all my shots, and I'm using this method. How do I finish the swing? So I think it's really important. Again, it's quite interesting. Oh, we're seeing Michael's joined and popped a question in here. Richard's put another one in here, and John here in the live stream. Welcome, guys. Brilliant to have you on. We'll come to your questions after we've gone to the hub. Give me 10 minutes and we're into them. 10 minutes. But I want to go into this question. So I prescribed a drill in the hub, which was to hit these low punch shots. And look at Tommy Fleetwood, right? He finishes that Cattell follow through. Like, I don't honestly see a problem as long as we've got that chest rotation through to target of having that sort of 3/4 follow through in our golf swing. That for me is something where I'm like, okay, if you hit it brilliantly doing that, let's just continue. I don't see an issue having that as part of our golf swing. In fact, I see it more of a fantastic thing to have as part of your golf swing. I think it's a really, really interesting point. So, Chris, what I would say is if you're wanting to feel that you have a bit more of a fuller follow through, you've got to still feel like you swing through that same sort of space and same sort of area in which you had on the drills. That's super important. You don't want to lose that feeling. And again, that comes back to the first original question that we had here from Peter this evening. How do we transfer our skills from the range to the golf course? Well, we've got to be in that scenario of, are we moving in a way which is very similar? Okay, well, if we're having the fact that we're ripping it on a 3/4 punch style swing on the range, why would we not use that on the golf course? That is my honest truth to that. Why would we not use that on the golf course? So let's go down another one of these questions. So John put here, hi Alex, I've played off 7, short swing like John Ram, and I've always got the shortest in our 4-ball. Should I keep chasing it for more speed and distance or keep on doing what I'm doing? What a great question, John. Just keep on the live stream. I'll answer that question very shortly. I'm just going through a lot of the questions that we've had here on the AE Excellence sub. That is the main priority of this live stream. But also for us all just have a cracking conversation this evening. We've been speaking about Tommy Fleetwood. What a result. What a performance. Especially after, like a busy time he's had. Like Ryder Cup, then the Alfred Dunhill, then this week. It's a busy time of year. So another one here is, why do I hit my 7-iron 150 and the next day it goes 120? Now, this for me comes down to strike. Now, I'm going to grab an iron here and just slide this up here. Now, what I want you to think about here, when we're losing distance, and then sometimes we're like, wow, I've got it back. This is majority of the reason. What I tend to see here is it's golfers, and let's say our golf ball is my fist, where we don't have much shaft lean, and we're bringing that golf club in where the hands and the club head end the race at the same time. So we're bringing in the loft this club has. Okay. Now, what tends to happen if I turn that towards you guys here, some days we'll get it boom out the middle, depending on the lie, depending where that ball is, depending on a few scenarios, how we're feeling on the day, the weather, the wind. We'll get out the middle. It goes great. Some days we come and we just drop that strike location down to groove 2 or 3, or even 1, 2 down here. That then becomes a lot thinner. That ball travels a lot shorter. And sometimes it could then launch a lot higher because they might lose that race even more. So my recipe to have more consistent strikes is we have to learn to get these hands ahead. Okay. We have to learn 3 steps. We have to have our weight more left, have to have our hands ahead of that golf ball, and we have to be lower at impact. You know what? I'll actually pop in. Tonight's video is all about driver. But you know what? I'm going to pop in a cracking video for you all here. And I'll just pop it in the chat because I just think this would be a brilliant one for you all just to go in on and just really, really have a look at. You know what? It's not even out yet. It's not out yet. I'll show you this one. This is still a cracker. But I've got another one coming up in a few weeks' time that, you know what, if you've subscribed, you'll turn on the bell, you'll love it. I'm going to pop this one in here for you. This is an irons drill. So for anybody struggling with the irons, click that link after this live stream. It's a brilliant one. It's really, really good. So yeah, I think that's a really important point. Why do they go one time, one distance, one time another? It essentially comes down to the fact that for me, a lot of people end the race in their hands and their club head at the same time. So the strike can just be fine-tuned to being low sometimes, then launch a little high, and other times it comes out brilliantly. And then that slight changes then give us totally different results. And I think that's a really, really important thing to think about. And just to be like, take into account the conditions some days. The conditions play a huge factor on your ability to perform. if the conditions are perfect and you're feeling great, and sometimes you're not going to feel great. Sometimes you're going to go out and you're going to feel horrible. You're going to feel stiff. You're going to have your waterproofs on. These are things I think when we go on the golf course, we just don't think about, but actually have a huge impact on our ability to perform. Guys, I'm loving this live stream. And if you are, please do subscribe if you're not already. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you've got any questions, I'll suggest a few videos that you should definitely go out and check, because that's what we're here about. And I said this at the start of the stream. I just want as many of you to be as good at golf as you can be and enjoy your golf as much as you can. And that's what we're here for on our YouTube channel and here at the AE Excellence Hub. And I just want to shout out a few members because it's brilliant to have you guys on. I'm just going to shout out some random names in here, because I think it's just cracking to have. We've got Aaron Paul, we've got Alistair, we've got Andy, we've got Ben, we've got Bavisham, we've got Chad, we've got Chris, we've got another Chris, got Christian Depe, we've got Claudie Wilder, we've got Daniel Doody. It's so amazing to have so many of you. Just randomly going to pick some more out here. We've got Yashua, we've got Roy. I've got Rory, we've got Robert, we've got Richard Stoney, who's on the live stream now, Richard Ogden, Richard Ivory, Peter Gabishak, who asked the questions at the start. Guys, it's overwhelming, the response. I just want to shout as many of you as possible. I don't want to spend the rest of the time doing it, but I think it's just amazing to have so much support. And I really hope you all feel that you're improving, as well as here on the YouTube channel. It's mad. I see so many people watch the videos here on YouTube. So many of you are watching it, but not subscribing. If you are watching it and you're not subscribed, please do. What I say to people is, once you've found someone you like on YouTube, subscribe to them, stay to them. Don't flirt around, because you're going to feel like you're getting contrasting advice. It's like going for a haircut. You choose your hairdresser, you stick with them. That's what I want you to think about this, right? Okay, so let's go to another one of these questions in here. How do I stop blading my chips across the green? And this person in the hub's asked not to be named, so we'll keep that out of here. Let me grab a wedge. You know what? I've actually got a new wedge here. Have a look at this beauty. Have a look at this beauty. This is actually my wife's new wedge. It's got a graphite recoil shaft in it. You know what? I think I used graphite in my irons this year, and I've seen a massive difference, massive difference. So, blading wedges. Now, contrary to belief, I spent a lot of time with a very, very famous short game coach called James Ridyard. He's a short game coach to Justin Rose, an absolute gent, and I learned so much from him. And would you know one of the biggest things I learned from him? How he gets his students to find out the answer themselves. And I thought it was brilliant. And he said to me, there's some facts here. At Impact, the top tour pros, they might tell you they're throwing away that loft. And what I mean by that is throwing the bounce and working it this way. But they have between 6 and 10 degrees of shaft lean at impact. So again, let's say my fist is the golf ball. That's around that amount of shaft lean when they're chipping. Most of us, we chip like this. And that, if you look at it here, right? If that's our golf ball and we come in with shaft lean, can you see how the middle of the club lines up the middle of the golf ball? If I have no shaft lean to then leaning back, what part of the club is going to be presented to the ball? This, the leading edge, the bottom of the golf club. Well, the bottom of the golf club is being presented to the golf ball. We're going to knife it and thin it across. And that's one of the big things I want you to think about. So my fix for you all, just try this. And I've never taught anybody that's got too much shaft lean when they're chipping, period. It has never, ever, ever happened in my years of coaching. What has happened more often is that people don't have shaft lean. I'll tell you that. What has happened with that? So what I want you to do is I want you to go and chip. And I want you to chip where you've got, and exaggerate this, go to town on it, right? I want you to have this. I want you to have loads of shaft lean, ball at the back of your stance, and try and hit with as much shaft lean as possible. The ball's going to fly off lower than you think, okay? But it's going to come off with so much more spin. You're going to see the ball go do-do-do-do-ch, and it's going to feel great. Now, that is obviously a little bit too extreme. I then want you just to move the ball, still at the back of your stance, but a little further forward, and have a little bit less shaft lean, but still keep the same ideas of having shaft lean when we're chipping and not throwing it away. When you realize that you can chip with shaft lean, your strikes are going to go from the worst chipper at your golf club to the best in a very, very quick space of time. Very quick. And that's exciting. So my advice to you is have shaft lean when you're chipping. Have shaft lean when you're chipping, because that is absolute must. Let's go into one of the questions here on the live stream, and we'll go back to some of them we have here on the hub. I want to go just to into John's question here. That he said, "Hi Alex, I play off 7. I have a short swing like John Ram. I'm always the shortest in our 4-ball. Should I keep chasing for more speed and distance, or should I just keep doing what I'm doing or what I'm doing now?" I'll be honest with you, John. Let's just carry on doing what we're doing. I don't think there's any issues with a short swing. Okay. Caveat to that, if it's below hip height. What I would say is, can we have a maybe, and this is expensive, I appreciate this, and this is maybe not the first option. One of the options could be equipment. Could we play with maybe something that's a little more lofted with driver? That might help us launch it. Also, let's think about how we're striking it. We can do a lot of things in the golf swing. Now, one of the compromises might be is if the swing is lower than John Ram, we might feel we have the need to lift. So my advice to you is, John, explore this. Moving with quality, not with speed. So can you swing it longer, but make it feel like it's slower to get more distance? Now, think, how would that work? The problems is, well, for us mere mortals, unlike John Ram, when we have a short swing, our radius tends to get quite narrow as well. Now, if our radius is narrow and quick, we're not. It's a false economy. We feel like we got speed, but we haven't. I would rather a wider, longer, and slower. But long being, I would say my hands will be around shoulder height at the top of my backswing with an iron. I wouldn't feel it any longer than that. That is where I would be picturing the maximum length of your swing. So, John, I hope that helps. Let's go to this one from Richard Stoney here. I tell everyone about watching too many instructors on YouTube. Since spending the day with you at Mottram, I have had to force myself to only watch instruction videos from you, and my game has improved. Richard, I really do appreciate that. That really means the world to me. I think it's so important. We can sort of sometimes get flabbergasted. Like, I'm not saying the information on YouTube is wrong. It's not. There's brilliant golf coaches and brilliant information. But we all have different ways of talking about it. We all have different ways of thinking about it. And that communication from coach to student, even though we're talking about the same thing, it might be interpreted in a different way. So if you're interpreting it one way from one coach and one way from another, then the information that you feel you're getting is going to be contrasting. And then you go to the range and you get this head-on collision going, oh my God, what do I do? And you just feel like you're at 6s and 7s. So my advice to you all is, once you've found a golf coach that you like, subscribe to them, turn that bell, and that way you are going to tune in with somebody, you're going to level up with somebody, and you're going to really be on that journey with you, right? I want to be on that journey with you. That is my aim. I want to be on the journey with you to now until the end of your golf career where you really do improve. And that's our goal here at my channel. That's our goal. Okay, we have another question here from 47 D-Boy 47. With my irons, I can't stay down to take a divot. For nothing, even when I take a practice swing. Don't choke up on my clubs, and I'm short, so I can't be my it can't be my clubs that aren't long enough. Tell you what, Debbie, check out the video I just put here right below your comment. That would be an absolute brilliant game changer for you. You're going to feel like you've got a totally different way of thinking about the golf swing. So what I would say is, and I've got the idea here is, when golfers are standing up in their golf swing, so making this motion, their head's moving 2 or 3 inches in an upwards motion in that downswing, it really compromises impact. And the top ball strikers in the world, they have very much the opposite. As they start in transition, they get lower. So their right shoulder works more down and across. That down and across helps get that weight into the lead side, so the front side of your swing. And it also helps get those hips more open. I would love for you to experiment what we prescribed in this video here. I'll put it in again, just so... can I reply to the comment? I think I can. No, I can't. I'll put it in here again. This would help. Brilliant, brilliant video. That would help us get lower. That would help us get more into the shot. It would really, really give us a great way of improving our golf swing. So, guys, I really am enjoying this live session. It's absolute cracker. So, if you are watching now, please don't forget to put your comments in here. We will come to them once we've gone through all of these from the live Q&A and from the Members Hub. I'm going to go into the Members Hub now. Let's go in and find a few more. So, questions. Here we go. Right. Let's find these here. Okay. Oh, this is absolute cracker. And this isn't spoken about on YouTube. This is why I love the hub, right? How do I react after a bad shot? Does it help or hurt my next shot if I react emotionally? Now, this is really tough, right? Because you've got, let's talk about some extremes here. Let's go Tyrrell Hatton. Very emotional golfer. I would say over the last 2 to 3 years, that has got significantly less. He has become a lot more level. Still has his peaks, but they're not as extreme. And then you've got someone like your Tiger Woods, who is just completely level all the time. Let's say so almost like a Ludwig Hubert, right? Very, very level all the time. So sort of like horizontal. And I think there's two trains of thought you've got to think about this as. Number one is, does letting my emotion out help me? Because if I keep bottling it up, will that then affect it? Okay, so I'm going to give you two scenarios. If you are a person who does get emotional and you want to sort of get that out of you, then what I would say is you have a 5-yard rule. 5 yards after putting your club in your bag and leaving that bad shot, 5 yards, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5 steps, 5 meters, whatever you want to do. Then you have to stop. Click your fingers, stamp your feet, stop. I would personally click your fingers because it's almost like, like a boom, a point in time where it just goes stop. That is it. And that sort of signifies that stop. So that's one rule of thumb. Now, with that, if you're a golfer who has extreme changes when it's a bad shot, I then also believe you have to reward yourself extremely on a good shot. Okay, so for 5 yards after a good shot, you'll be like, yes, that was really good. That could just be internal, by the way. Not have to be external. Because you can't just berate yourself, but then not reward yourself. You see where I'm going with that? That is such an important point. And Carl Morris, who we've had here on the channel countless times, and what a legend that guy is, he would say the exact same thing. You can't just have extreme lows. You have to then reward yourself too. So that's my first one. The second scenario is you try and stay as level as possible. Now, how I do this is I do it with my eye gaze, and it sounds quite, I don't know, it sounds like a superficial thing, right? But when I hit a bad shot, I try and keep my eyes at flag level. So you know what the flag is, not the pole, the actual flag level. Because when you're feeling down, what do? You look down, you feel bad. Keeping your eyes up. It's amazing how actually, just do it now. Like, you almost want to bring a smile to your face. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. So that is my ideas there. That's a brilliant one. Cyril said here, Cyril Brooks said, great chat. I appreciate it. Guys, if you are enjoying this chat, do hit that thumbs up button. Do hit the love heart. It is amazing to have so many of you on here. Okay, another one here. This is a really good one. We've got 2 more questions. Do I have to go to a fairway finder club under pressure? Now, I'm bringing in so many things in this week, and I think it's an important point to bring because, again, let's talk about this. Having Rory play an event does make you go, I'm going to tune into this. I think it does. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. It really does. He didn't carry a driver this week. I know Fleetwood did. So, do you have to go to fairway finder? So, how I work it is, I would go, look at this hole and go, firstly, can I hit a full out driver? If the answer to that question is no, is it then a fairway finder with driver? If then that question is no again, then I would go for something like maybe like a 5 wood. Okay, so it's almost like you start at the bombs away driver, you go fairway finder driver. No, I can't hit that. Then I go into my fairway woods. Okay, that then becomes a fairway finder golf club. So that's exactly how I would work it. And I think that's a great way to think about it going forwards. Okay, so the final question we've got here on the hub. And this is really important, this actually. A lot of people have been asking when the practice guide and the winter practice plan comes up. We've updated it. It will be going up in the next 2 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the first part of November. It's crazy. And that gives you way loads of time to set your stall out over this winter period, practice with purpose, and really improve. So how much practice time should I have on short game versus long swing? And this comes in from Mark. Now, No one likes it when I say this. And I had this actually conversation with a young student of mine that I was teaching at the weekend. He's called Liam. He's 15 years old and he's a brilliant golfer. He's really improving. But I said to him is if we could together really help you get really good inside 110 yards, your handicap is going to be scratched within 10 months. I said to him, is it long enough? Let's take into account what I just said there. So that shows to you right now, and I'm going to caveat this, you have to be good enough off the tee. And what I mean by that is not losing a golf ball every single time. So how I would structure a practice is I would have it where I'll be practicing my short game, and this includes putting, chipping, bunker play, pitching, anything inside roughly 100, 110 yards. Okay. So it's a lot, isn't it? Think about it. It's a lot. Whereas the long game, just a swing with driver and irons. There's only sort of two elements, whereas the short game has the putting, the chipping, the bunker play, different shots, the pitching. It's so many facets to that. So I would be having it sort of 65% short game, okay? And then the rest of that, 35% on long game. That is exactly how I would structure a practice session. And that's what we're going to have here on the hub. And guys, if you are wondering what the hub is, you can go and have a look at the hub. The link is in the bottom of the description on our videos. And I would love it if you guys came over and joined us. I also love it when you do join on these live chats. If you are enjoying this, I really do appreciate it if you did a thumbs up button. Guys, as always, to the hub members, I just want to say a massive thank you. I really appreciate all of your support. It means a lot to me. I know some of you don't watch live, you come back and watch later. So hopefully I've gone through all your questions and I've answered them. I know I've gone through what questions we had here and a few extras here on the chat. And I really appreciate your support. I look forward to joining you again on another live stream. I also look forward to helping so many of you here on YouTube. So if you are looking to improve, Richard put it right in here. Richard Stoney said, find somebody, watch somebody once, subscribe to them, stay on them, because you don't want to have two coaches coming head to head in the sense of both saying great information, but actually you interpret it slightly differently. Okay. And then it results in you not improving. And I don't want that to happen. I really want you to improve. That's our main goal here. Guys, thanks so much for joining me on this live stream this Sunday evening. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, wherever you tune in from. Stay safe. I look forward to joining you again very, very soon. Thank you. Oh, JZ said, love watching your tips and thanks for your content. Keep it up. JZ, thank you so much for support. I appreciate it. See you soon, guys.